Well, I will just very briefly give a very simple answer to how did dinosaurs get on the Ark, because that's obviously a very common objection as well. Well, if you actually look at the dinosaur fossils, I mean, the dinosaur fossil egg, this is off of a hadrosaur dinosaur. You're talking about 14 meters in length, so it's a big dinosaur at the end of it, and it hatches out of an egg fairly small, okay? So it's going to be pretty small when it comes out. So dinosaurs could have easily fitted on Noah's Ark. I mean, you're talking about 500 foot long, and that is if working on a cubit, because the Ark was 300 cubits long. Well, a cubit is from the tip of your finger to the bottom of your elbow, okay? Well, if Noah was bigger than us, then his cubit would have been bigger. But that doesn't mean that the Ark would have been longer and wider, because 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So if Noah was bigger than us, his cubit was bigger than us, then the Ark is going to increase in volume by 8 times, okay? So you're talking about a lot of space there. Plenty of room for all the animals, and the dinosaurs started off very small. They would have come on very small, which makes sense. I mean, what did God tell them to do? Be fruitful and multiply when they came off the Ark. You're not going to send the really, really big dinosaurs, because the big dinosaurs would have been the really old ones, because we know one thing about reptiles, and that is that they grow all their life. And so the really big dinosaurs were the really, really old ones. So you're going to take the young dinosaurs, hence you're going to take the small dinosaurs. So it would have been easy to fit them on the Ark. They would have then come off the Ark, okay? And then you have a problem, because what actually happened to the dinosaurs? Classic explanation of, secular explanation is an asteroid. Okay, in fact, people like Brian Cox say, we know an asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs. We don't. We don't have any idea what wiped out the dinosaurs. Just Google it. It's hilarious. Really, it's really worth actually Googling what wiped out the dinosaurs, because you find some bizarre, they got severe constipation and died from stomach aches. Their flowers developed and they got hay fever and died from hay fever. There's some bizarre, explanations to the dinosaurs, okay? But think about it. The flood is the first real climate change that happened. It's the only recorded climate change that happened, because after that, springtime and harvest, summer and winter will prevail, okay? So you've got first mentions of things like winter and seasons. All right, so you've got these massive climate changes happening on the Earth. You've gone from tropical temperature all around the Earth to now you've got these summertime harvest. You've got these seasons. So you've got these massive cold-blooded dinosaurs. Now, I work with reptiles, okay, and the piddly little, creatures, the piddly little reptiles in comparison to dinosaurs, they need to be kept really warm just for these tiny little creatures. Imagine how much more warmth you'd need for a great big huge reptile like a dinosaur. So you've instantly limited the area of the Earth where the dinosaurs are able to survive. You've also limited the size that they can grow, because the colder, harsher conditions mean they don't live as long, means they don't get as big. So you've got much smaller dinosaurs living in very limited parts of the Earth. And then, I think a big problem would have been us, humans. We hunt and cause extinctions all the time. You just have to look at the media to learn that. They are very big on that, right? So part hunting, part climate change, part the fact that, plants are cursed as well as all the animals, and a lot of the dinosaurs that ate plants don't provide as much, goodness as they do, as they used to. So you've got dinosaurs which are now unable to live as long, so they get smaller, so the dinosaurs slowly begin to die out. But we still have records of dinosaurs up to fairly recently in the form of dragons. Now, dragons are often considered, mythological creatures, but the man who invented the word dinosaur, Richard Owen, called them dragons before he invented the name and after he invented the name. In fact, you can search for it. You can find the letter between the person who invented the word dinosaur, the person who had more, the Reverend William Fox, who had more dinosaurs named after him than any other person, and also Tennyson, the poet Tennyson. He came and they were having a meal and they referred to them as the Great Dragons. John Mackay, our director, has visited William Fox's house and he's read all the letters and stuff that is on display in there, and they talk to them about dragons. Dragons were what dinosaurs were called before they were called dinosaurs. Well, look back at the history of dragons. You've got dragons fairly similar all around the world. The Chinese have their dragons. In fact, the Chinese still call dinosaurs dragons. Okay, we have the famous dragons in the UK. You have dragons in America. You have dragons in South America. You have the great big water dragons of Australia, and you've got dragons in Africa. Dragons all around the world fit the description of dinosaurs almost exactly. And again, I mentioned Vance Nelson earlier. He's done exactly the same work on dragons. He's gone all around the world collecting artifacts, photographing the dragons that look exactly like dinosaurs. But think about it. You've got dinosaurs, they come off the ark after the flood, they come out, and they can't live as long. They begin to die out. They become rarer creatures. And finally, by St. George's Day, everybody's killing them, and you've only got the few very last remains of dragons. And then people start telling stories about these great big mythological beasts that used to live, but they're not living any longer, so they become the subject of myth and legend as the stories become passed down. And then bits get added onto them about, the magical kind of world of them. Just the same as anything else does in myth and legend. You've got true things becoming rarer and rarer, and eventually it becomes myths and legends because of the stories. You know how Chinese whispers works. As the stories get passed on, more and more of this sort of magical world of dragons appears. But they were based on real history. They were the dinosaurs that came off after the flood. And you can see this, you can go around the world and look at all of the descriptions and the pictures of dragons. They match dinosaurs perfectly in most of the cases.